उद्घाट्य योगकलया हृदयाब्जकोशं धन्यैश्चिरादपि यथारुचि गृह्यमाणः यः प्रस्फुरत्यविरतं परिपूर्णरूपः श्रेयस्य मे दिशतु शाश्वतिकं मुकुन्दः अमरीकबरीभारभ्रमरी मुखरीकृतं दूरीकरोतु दुरितं गौरीचरणपङ्कजं परस्परतपःसम्पत्फलायितपरस्परौ प्रपञ्चमातापितरौ प्राञ्चौ जायापति स्तुमः. We have to start with the Parikara alankara and Parikarankura. Yeah. This Parikara alankara is a very common alankara which we see in most of the kavyas. Maybe next to upama, I would say upama kuda kammiya irukum. You know, you see less of upama but more of Parikara alankara, which is actually hidden. Many times we don't realize that it is there unless we specifically look for the visheshanas and the meanings of those visheshanas. So alankara parikaraha sabhipraye visheshane. Visheshane sabhipraye sati. When the visheshana, the adjective that we give to the karta or something, anything, it can be either in tritiya vibhakti, dvitiya vibhakti, it doesn't matter. But if the visheshanam that we give is sabhipraye, it is with a particular intention in mind, purpose in mind, then that alankara is called parikara alankara. The example here is Sudhamshu Kalitottam Saha Tapam Haratu Vas Shivaha. Sudhamshu Kalita Uttam Saha Shivaha Vaha Tapam Haratu. Shivaha Vaha Tapam Haratu. Shiva, may Shiva remove your tapa, that is your and the inner suffering. Tapam is the three types of tapa, tapatraya vinashaya iti vadamaha. So the tapatrayam is adi daivikam, adi bhautikam and adhyatmika. So there are three types of tapam that we suffer from. So Shiva should remove that tapam for us. Iti atra prarthana. So Shivaha vaha tapam haratu. May Shiva remove your suffering, inner suffering. So who is the Shiva? The adjective that we give here is Sudhamshu Kalita Uttamsaha. Uttamsa is his shikharam. One whose shikhara is Kalita. It is decorated with alankritam, with Sudhamshu, that is the moon here. The adjective for moon, that is the word he uses for moon, is also very sabhipraya eva tatra uktam, in the sense that the moon which has its amshu, kirana, its rays as sudha, nectar. Nectar is capable of removing any sort of suffering because it gives amritam here. Amritam is amritatvam dadati iti karanat tatra asmakam dukkhani harati. So Sudha is another way of saying it also, but that comes within the samasta padam, so we don't take it out separately and call it out as Parikarankura alankara or something like that. But here the focus is more on Parikara alankara. Let's look at the explanation here, and then I will tell you why it is Parikara. So Visheshane Sabhipraye Sati. When the Visheshanam, the prakrita upapadakasya artha visheshasya vyanjakatva abhiprayena visheshana prayoge sati. When the visheshana is used, visheshana prayoge sati. When the visheshana is used with a specific purpose in mind to bring out some special kind of meaning, prakritartha upapadakasya. We want to try to establish or justify the present context here. Prakrita artham. The present context here is tapa hरणम becomes the present context. In order to be useful for that tapa hरणम, we try to put in an artha vishesha which gives rise to a suggestion of tapa hरणम. Tadrisha visheshana upayoge sati parikara alankaraha. Clear? So I'll come back to it. So prakritartha visheshane sabhipraye. So what is the visheshanam here and what is sabhipraya? Visheshanam is there is an adjective that is being used here. So in the prakritam it is Sudhamshu Kalitottam Saha is the adjective for Shiva. it is capable of giving out vyanjakatva abhiprayena with a purpose in mind that visheshana has been used. It is suggestive of a particular meaning. What is the particular meaning? That this is capable of tapaharanam because it has this particular quality in him. What is that quality? Which is having the moon. The moment we see moon, all our suffering melts away, because he has Sudha in his rays. That is why the moment we see the moon, our tapam also goes away. Iti vyanjakatva abhiprayena eva tatra sudhamshu kalitottam saha iti visheshana prayogaha kriyate. And prakrita artha upapadakasya artha visheshasya. It is also capable of upapadakam solving the prakrita artha. It is capable of suggestive substantiating the expressed meaning. Upapadakana, he is saying it is capable of substantiating the prakritam, the contextual meaning here. Atra visheshane iti ekavachanam avivakshitam. Sabhipraye visheshane is used in ekavachanam here. Does that mean that if there are 5 visheshanas which have sabhipraya, then is it are there 5 alankaras? No, that is not the case here. Appo 5 parikaras are there. We have some srishti of these or sankara of these tatha nasti atra. If there are 5 adjectives and all of those 5 adjectives have been used with a purpose in mind, sabhiprayam, then we just call it out as one parikara alankara. Full stop. Don't think about if there are 10, then there will be 10 alankaras. It will become spiral there. Don't go into all that. So, vyangyasya arthasya vachyartham purati parikaratvat angatvat parikarankaraha iti vyapadeshaha. Now, there will arise a doubt as to whether this will come under vastudhvani or not. So what is vastudhvani? A sentence is said, the sentence is very meaningful as is when we look at the vachyartha. But beyond that, for a moment when we think, it immediately gives rise to some other idea, but the vachyartha is not dependent on that vyangyartha. And that vyangyartha is even more beautiful than the vachyartha. If this is the case, then it will go into the category of something called vastudhvani. Now, in this case, we have a vachyartha. The meaning is beautiful. Shiva, who has the moon on his head, may he remove our suffering. It is fine. We also arrive at a suggestive meaning saying that, the moon is a representation of removing the suffering in our mind. He is the Chandrama Manaso Jataha iti karanat tatra manas adhi vyadhi chalrolya. So all adhi, that is manovyathanam nivarakaha chandraha eva iti jyotish shastre api prasiddham tadrisha chandram shirasi dharati Shivaha iti karanat asmakam tapamapi hartum samarthaha saha iti vyangyaha tatra agacchati. But that vastu, you can't qualify it as dhvani because it comes and becomes an anga to the normal, the vachyartham, which is even more beautiful. Shiva having the moon on his head, he is removing our suffering. This is more beautiful than because the moon is capable, it is so cool, and that is why the moon is capable of removing the suffering, and hence, so then you are actually, what you are saying is the moon has more capability of removing the tapam instead of Shiva. Apo, it is not as beautiful as saying because the moon is present on Shiva and we are praying to Shiva to remove our suffering, through that and his own grace also, the tapam will be removed. So this vachyartha is more beautiful. The vyangyartha becomes an angam to the vachyartha. Like a parikara. Parikarana, we always say it is like a boundary. So the vyangyartham varayil, we have to try to understand until the vyangyartha to get a beautiful vachyartha here. Otherwise it is, or madri, it is not purnam. So Sudhamshuna kalitaha kritaha athava alankara rupena praptaha uttamsaha. Alankara rupe alankritaha uttamsaha. So kalitaha, kali kamadheno iti karanat, you can take whatever meaning you feel like. So you can also have it as alankarana. So kalitaha kritaha uttamsaha shirobhushanam. So this Sudhamshu has become an praptaha iti. It has become a shirobhushanam, or it is Sudhamshuna alankritaha uttamsaha. The head portion is alankrita shikharam iti. Yena saha shivaha vaha yushmakam tapam dukkam haratu iti udaharanam. Atra Sudhamshu kalitottamsa iti visheshanam, the adjective, prakrita tapaharana rupa artha upapadakatvena, artha upadakatvena nasti. Upapadakatvena iti, that pa is missing here. Sabhiprayam prayuktam. This visheshanam, this adjective of Sudhamshu kalita uttamsaha, one who has the moon as an crest jewel, iti, that visheshanam becomes useful for justifying the prakritartha, which is tapaharanam. So Sudhamshoho hi tapaharana samarthyam upapannam tad vishishtascha shivaha manastapam haratu iti prakritartha upakarakatvam vyajyamanasya arthasya iti lakshana sangatihi. So the vyajyamana artha is such that Sudhamshoho tapaharana samarthyam vartate. That is the vyangya artha for the visheshanam here. Now if Shiva is having this, so Shiva is capable of removing our manastapam. Now that vyangya artha becomes useful for justifying the vachyartha also. So which means the vachyartha is more embellished because of the vyangyartha. Is that clear? Any doubts?
Regular lovers and all feel the pangs and they get dukkam by when the moon and all is there. That also is there, right?
Yadu?
Usually there are where the lovers, separated lovers, feel more the mental anguish and all during moon.
அது வந்து ஆப்போசிட் ஆயிடும். அது நமக்கு வேண்டாம்.
That's why I was saying that because it is now in Shiva's head, then it becomes capable of.
நீங்க வந்து கதை எழுதிக்கலாம்.
I mean, the property of the moon is to be have cool rays and to bring happiness. General property. விப்ரலம்ப சிங்காரத்துல வந்து அது கொதிக்குதுன்னு அதெல்லாம்
அது ஆப்போசிட். அதை இங்க கொண்டு வரக்கூடாது.
ஆமா. But meaning of the word Parikara is servant, இல்லையா? One of the meanings.
One of the meanings is servant. The other is also border ன்னு சொல்றோம். வேலின்னு சொல்லுவோம்.
வேலி.
வேலிக்கும் பரிகரான்னு உண்டு.
வேலியா வேணியா?
வேணி இல்ல. ஃபென்ஸ்.
வேலி.
Fence.
So fence-க்கும் you can have that.
Or even assistant. எனக்கு என்னமோ assistant அப்படின்னு தோன்றது, but okay.
Okay.
Assistant help பண்றது இல்லையா?
அதுவும் ரைட் தான், பண்ணலாம். That is also nice. I was looking at இந்த குமார சம்பவத்துல ஒரு ஸ்லோகம் வரும். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் சர்க்கத்திலேயே கடைசி the last ஸ்லோகா தச்சிரஸ் சந்திரபாதைஹின்னு வரும். Parvati வந்து she does she serves him every day and then vandutu okkarra. Wait 1 minute. Avachita bali pushpa vedi sammarga daksha niyama vidhi jalanam barhisham chopanetri girisham upachachara pratyaham sa sukeshi niyamita parikheda tachiras chandrapadaihi. So this is
கிருபையா தர்ஷயத்.
இது வந்து இதுல இருக்கு, அந்த விக்கி ஸ்ரோதல இருக்கு. 1 minute, let me see if I can find.
ஒண்ணுமே மனசுல நிக்கல.
இல்ல பொறுமையா சொல்றேன், don't worry, I will. இது வந்து more to do with the removal of that tapam, the capability that இவருக்கு இருக்கு இல்லையா, the Chandra has that capabilityங்கிறத காமிக்கிறதுக்கு வர்ற ஸ்லோகம். I'm trying to find if I can find the whole shloka in the text. Okay. Yeah. Avachita bali pushpa. All of these are an adjective for Parvati here. Sa Sukeshi, one who has a long hair, beautiful hair. Avachita bali pushpa she collects pushpam for Bali, for puja. Vedi sammarga daksha. She was an expert in sammarjane. Vedehe sammarjane daksha asit. So that yaga niyama vedika vartate. There is a stage where Shiva sits down and it's like a bench kind of thing. So she is capable of cleaning that bench also. Niyama vidhi jalanam barhisham cha upanetri. She is also one who brings the niyama vidhi jalam, waters for the vidhi that Shiva has to do. Barhisham cha upanetri. She also brings in the barhis, that is kusha grass, for his niyama vidhi here. She brings all of those. Pratyaham sa evam girisham upachachara. She serves Shiva in this manner every day. But at the same time, after she does all of these things, Tatshiras Chandrapadaihi Niyamita Parikheda. Sa evam girisham upachachara. Tatshiras Chandrapadaihi. By the light of the moon that is there on the head of Shiva, with that, her parikhedam, her dukkham is completely gone. She's done so much of work. Imagine a princess who has been born and brought up in luxury, and served by so many attendants at every step. She comes here and does things for Parameshwara on her own. So she brings the flowers, she cleans the Vedi there, she brings water and kusha grass and everything and serves him. But at the end of the day, she's so tired, she sits in front of him, and at that point of time, the rays of the moon falls on her and all of her fatigue is completely gone. And the scene is so beautiful to imagine. Tachiras Chandrapadaihi Niyamita Parikheda.
இங்க பாத சப்தஸ்ய ரஷ்மிஹி அப்படின்னு உபலக்ஷணம்.
உபலக்ஷணமே இல்ல, பாத ரஷ்மி அங்கிரி இது உண்டு.
அப்படியா?
அமரகோஷா has that.
பாத can mean array. சஹஸ்ராக்ஷ சஹஸ்ரபாத், but that's a different one.
அது வேற. ஒரு இடத்துல டிஃபரெண்டா இருக்கு. நிறைய இடத்துல பிரத்ன பாதாக இது சூரிய சதகே ஆசீத் கல. So we've read that.
What is the name? என்ன பாத?
பிரத்ன பாதாக. பிரத்னங்கிறது சூர்யா.
Beautiful. So this is the stage where this is before Shiva burns Manoja.
This is the last shloka of first sarga. இதுக்கப்புறம் தான் தாரகாசுரஸ்ய வதம் சம்பிரார்த்திய பிரம்மாணம் பிரதிகச்சந்தி. ததனந்தரம் you have the third act and then மதன இது எல்லாம் ஆறுது. Okay, so we'll go to the aparam udaharanam.
Abhignana Shakuntala's Mangala shloka does not have Parikara. I heard long back from you only.
Ya srishti srashturadya vahati vidhutam yahavari yacha hotri edve kalam vidhatta shruti vishayaguna ya sthita vyapya vishwam. இல்லையே, அதுல ஒன்னும் இருக்கிறாப்ல எனக்கு தெரியலையே. Because each one is yat shabdena tatra vartate visheshanataya tu na uktam khalu.
Okay, I've forgotten.
Yasthita vyapya. 1 minute, let me just look at that also. Ya srishti srashturadya vahati vidhutam yahaveri yacha hotri yedve kalam vidhatta shruti vishayaguna yasthita vyapya vishwam yaya praninah pranavantaha. Then pratyakshabhihi prapannastanubhiravatu vastabhirashtabhirishah. Okay, the word isha alone is given there. So isha is a parikarankura alankara. That is the only word given for Shiva there. So it is
that's for the visheshya.
Sabhipraye visheshye. Okay, that would fit for the next one.
But in this particular
English slokam was
we had
yes, that is Parikarankara. Vande Vrindavanacharam Vallavi Janavallabham. Each one has Saulabhya ityadi. Vastudvani was also there. There is also a Parikarankara. Ellame undu andathla.
Correct.
But with Parikara alankara, the fact is that most of the words we use for devatas are all anvartanamas. And
Yes.
so they can be taken adjectively.
Yes.
So usually in shlokas, adjectives are used profusely, but
Yes.
not all of them will be parikara. Is that what we are saying?
Correct.
So there should be some kind of excessive, like chamatkara should happen.
And it should also fit
Kriya
the
upayogitvam.
context. Context, prakrita upayogitvam tu tatra vartitapyam. But if that prakrita upayogi nasti cheta, then you can't call it as a parikara alankara. Chumma stuti paramnu pote, I just varisya pote na, that is not the point. You have a prakrita idea, you have a vakyam. And to substantiate that vakyam, the visheshana becomes useful. Appo, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Got it.
So this is also another shloka from Kumara Sambhava. Tava prasadhat kusumayudhopi sahayamekam madhumeva labdhva kuryam harasya pipina kapanehe dhairyachutim kemamadhanvino anye. This comes in the beginning of third sarga, where Manmatha is proclaiming to Indra. Indra calls him and makes him sit down. Even before Indra can start off his prastava, whatever he wants. Why did he think about Manmatha? Even before that, Manmatha is so happy that he just blah, 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 he just starts saying, okay, do you want this woman? I will get her for you. Do you want this, stop the tapas of this person? Then I will do that also for you. Tava prasadat, by your grace, iti tava iti atra indrasya prasadat, kusumayudhaha api, even though my weapon is only flower, and sahayam ekam madhumeva labdhva, even though my sahaya, my helper, is only madhumasa, who stays only for 2 months in the whole year, madhumeva labdhva, and he's the most, most pleasant of all. Still, he says, Kuryam harasyapi pinaka panehe, even though Hara, Shiva, has pinaka in his hand. The pinaka is his bow, the name of Shiva's bow. Pinaka panehe harasya api. You take on so much there. Even though he has pinakam in his hand and I have only flowers in my hand, tathapi, tasya dhairyachutim kuryam. I am well capable of doing, making him slip from his resolve. So dhairyachutim kuryam. If Shiva is doing his practice, the tapas now, I can definitely make him come away from his resolve of doing tapas here. Ke mamad anye dhanvinaha. So what to say of other dhanvi, other archers? So Shiva is supposed to be the best among the archers here. There are many instances of where Shiva uses his pinaka and to prove his valor. So first was Tripura Samharam, where he uses just one bow, one arrow, Narayanastram, and he uses his bow to destroy all 3 puras there, which align at one particular moment, and he kills all 3, destroys all of the 3 cities here. So Tripura Samhare api tasya his dhanurvidya pravinyam tu drishtam asmabhihi. The other time was during Arjuna, let's say, even though this was Kalpa Bedena, we also know Arjuna's story also, where he is a great archer there also. He competes with Arjuna in killing that boar, right? And Krishna, during the war of Mahabharata, he takes Arjuna, goes to Himalayas in the middle of the war, and then he retrieves the pinaka. He prays to Shiva. Shiva appears in front of him and asks him to go and retrieve the Pashupata Astram from one lake, and where he goes and gets the Pashupata Astram and the bow. This is there in Mahabharatam also. So Shiva is supposed to be the best among the archers. What to say of others? What to say of if I can even defeat Shiva, who has the pinaka in his hand. Now this pinaka panehe harasya. For Hara, we have so many adjectives that we can bring in. We can say kapala panehe, but that won't fit the context here. If I say kapala pani, one who has kapalam in his hand, I can easily defeat him. What is the charm in defeating a person who has kapalam and who is already begging? It only gives a charm to the Vachyartha if you say that he has pinaka in his hand. Yeah? That's why what adjective you use and what is the context to use also matters here. Tava prasadat kusumayudhopi sahayamekam madhumeva labdva. Kuryam harasyapi pinakapanehe dhairyachyutim ke mama dhanvinaha anye. Atra pinakapanehe iti visheshanam shivasya prabala ayudhatvam. We use pinakapani as an adjective to Shiva, Hara, to show that he has a much stronger weapon on hand. Whereas Kusumayudha, the name itself shows that he is a very, very, Nissara Ayudhatvam. See, Manmathasya iti Visheshanam, Manmathasya Nissara Ayudhatvam cha Dhyotayataha. And Manmatha has an Ayudha, a weapon, which doesn't have any essence at all, which is of no use. You cannot use it in a war. This is a war of a different kind where he wins. Tenacha Kaimutika Nyayena. This Kaimutika Nyaya is usually Arthapatti Alankara, where Kimuta iti yadi vayam prichamaha, tatra Arthapatya, we also say that what to say of other archers, he will definitely win over other archers if he can win over the best among the archers, right? So that using the Kimuta, Kimuta Anye Dhanvinaha, Shivamapi Jayati iti chet, tatra others are easier to win over, easier to conquer. So that Kaimutika Nyaya actually is another alankara called Arthapatti Alankara. So keep that aside here. Since that is also included in this, so it is different from the earlier Parikara Alankara. This gives an idea of how the Parikara Alankara is used with other alankaras also. So Pinakapanehe api Dhairyachyutim kuryam. This actually Parikara Alankara becomes an anga to the Kaimutika Nyayam. That is the angi. So Arthapatti becomes the angi and this becomes the angam. Pinakapanehe Dhairyachyutim kuryam. I will definitely be able to sambhavana, or you can say it is a nischayatmakam. It is easily possible for me to win over Pinakapani. Kimuta Vaktavyam Anya Dhanvinam iti Sarvadhanvi Dhairya Bhanjakatva Rupaha Vachyartaha Eva Upaskriyate. So the meaning of Pinakapani saying that Shiva has a stronger weapon, actual, even though he has a stronger weapon and I have a very weak weapon, still I can conquer Shiva. What to say of other archers? Definitely I can destroy the strength of other archers also. This idea which is suggested actually comes back and beautifies the Vachyartha here. So Vachyartha eva upaskriyate. It beautifies the Vachyartha in this case. Clear? Any questions? Yeah. Okay. So with this, Parikara Alankara is over. Now we move on to Parikarankura Alankara, which is, so we have a Visheshana and Visheshya. In the earlier sentences, we also how Sudamshu Kalita Uttam Saha Shivaha. Shivaha becomes the Visheshya and Sudamshu Kalita Uttam Saha becomes the Visheshanam. In that case, it was only the Visheshana which was Sabhiprayam. Here too, Pinakapanehe harasya ityasti. Tatra Pinakapani tvam visheshanam. Haraha iti shabdaha eva tatra visheshyaha. But it is only Visheshana which is Sabhiprayam. Now we move on to something where there is only one word given. There is no Visheshana, or even if there is a Visheshana, the Visheshya is also Sabhiprayam, or Visheshya is Sabhiprayam. That is called Parikarankura Alankara. Sabhipraye Visheshyetu Bhavet Parikarankuraha Chaturnam Purusharthanam Data Devas Chaturbhujaha. Devaha Chaturbhujaha. The Lord who has four hands. Chaturbhujaha Devaha. So Chaturbhujaha, Chaturbhujas, Chandra Kalavatam Saha, idla varunle. I think in Vishnu Sahasranamam also you have this Chaturbhujaha. So Chaturbhujaha iti chet tatra Vishnuhu. Chaturgatihi. So Chaturbujaha is Vishnu. He is Devaha Chaturbujaha, Chaturnam Purusharthanam Data. He is the giver of all four Purusharthas. Now here the Visheshya is Chaturbujaha. Because Deva is a common epithet. It is not any Visheshana. Even if you take it as a Visheshana, Divyati iti Devaha, one who shines, ityeva tatra Devaha iti. But that does not contribute to any embellishment of the Vachyartha here. Whereas when you take the Visheshya, which indicates the which Lord it is that we are talking about, which God we are talking about, that God has four hands here. So Chaturbujaha iti padam eva atra Visheshya padam. Tatra you take the Vyangyartha there. He has four hands, so he is capable of giving four different things. So this Abhiprayam comes and embellishes the Vachyartha, where you are describing him as a giver of four Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So with each hand, he gives each things. So Visheshye Sabhipraye Sati. Prakritartha Sampadana Samartha Arthavyanjake Sati. The same meaning. Prakritartha Sampadanaya Sampadane Samartham Arthavyanjakam Arthavyanjakatvam Vartate Visheshye. So what does the Visheshya has? It has the capability of suggesting a meaning. Arthavyanjakatvam. It has the capability of suggesting a meaning which is capable of Sampadanam, which is capable of justifying the Prakritartha, the contextual meaning. This is Parikara Ankuraha Nama Alankaraha. Chaturnam Purusharthanam Dharmartha Kama Mokshanam Data Devaha Chaturbujaha Vishnuhu Ityatra Chaturbujaha iti Visheshya Padam Purushartha Chatushtaya Dana Samarthya Abhiprayena Prayuktam. This word Chaturbuja, four-handed, it is used with the specific sense in mind that he is capable of giving four different things. Chatushtaya Dana Samarthyam. So this is an example of Parikara Ankura Alankara. Phanindraste Gunan Vaktum Likhitum Haihayadipaha Drashtum Akhandalaha Shaktaha Kwaham Esha Kwate Gunaha. Where am I and where are your qualities? Your qualities are such that he's talking about a king or the Devaha Atra iti Prayaha. That is better. Phanindraha te gunane vaktum samarthaha shaktaha. Everything has to connect with the shaktaha here. This one kriya connects with each of those. So te gunane vaktum phanindraha eva shaktaha. Only the king of all the snakes, serpents, is capable of telling your qualities because you have thousands of qualities. So sahasravadanaha sheshaha athava anantaha eva phanindraha iti phaninam indraha tu sheshaha tasya sahasram shirshani. So he has 1,000 heads and he is capable of if he starts reciting your qualities, each quality is probably described by one head, then even then that is probably when he can completely describe all of your qualities. So Haihayadipaha eva likhitum shaktaha. Only Haihayadipa is Kartavirya Arjuna, who has 1,000 hands here. So he alone is capable of writing your qualities, writing about your qualities. Drashtum Akhandalaha Shaktaha. Akhandalaha Indraha. Indra, who has 1,000 eyes. Only he can see all of your qualities. Because where am I, who has only 2 eyes, 2 hands, and 1 mouth, to talk about or see or write about your qualities? Kvate gunaha. Where are your qualities and where am I? Atra Phanindra Haihayadipa Akhandala Padaihi Visheshya Vachakaihi. There is no adjective for Phanindra, no other adjective for Haihayadipa or for Akhandala. So each word is used with a specific idea in mind. So Visheshya Vachakaihi Padaihi vyajyamanaha, what is being understood from these words? Phanindra ityanena sahasra vadanatvam vyajyate. The quality of having 1,000 mouths to speak is seen from the word Phanindra. Sahasra bahutvam vyajyate haihayadipapadena. Sahasra nayanatvam vyajyate akhandala iti indravachi padena. Evam ete rupaha arthaha prakrita guna varnana lekhana darshana samarthyapadakataya samarthya apadakataya sabhiprayaha. Apadakatvam nama the possibility of having that capacity to write or to describe or to see. So samarthya apadakatvam prapakatvam kutra vartate eteshu visheshyeshu eva tatra prakrita bhagavataha guna varnanam va guna lekhanam va guna darshanam va bhavitum arhati tatra eteshu eva. Tarhi eteshu samarthyam vartate iti darshanartham sabhiprayam. Okay? Sariyarka?
Yeah, but when you compare it with the previous one, where he said Chaturbhujaha, that was a much more straightforward, because that suggests 4 hands and therefore 4 things. Whereas here, let's say you take the word Akhandalaha, that is Parvatan Khandayati Saha Indraha. He breaks the mountains. Tadvashat
Artha, you take the Artha Abhipraya, not the Pada Abhipraya.
That's what I'm saying. Whereas the Pada Abhipraya was pointing out in the previous one. Here, the Artha Abhipraya is actually the one. The Pada Abhipraya suggests something else.
Yes.
Like even the Haihaya Adipa is misleading. Okay, Haihayanam Adipaha iti Haihaya Adipa. Or even Pani. Okay, Panayaha Santi Tasmat Kim. If you say Sahasrakshaha or something like that, okay. You know,
that is even more direct, no? This is even one step innu alagu. This is more beautiful. Artha Abhiprayena yadi vartate. So it's even more...
The more indirect it is, the more nice.
Beautiful. This also has this Vishama alankara. Kwaham eshaha kwate gunaha iti. So when there is a... asamana rupayoho ghatana iti. 2 things that cannot be connected are being connected. Like Kwasurya Prabho Vamshaha Kwachalpa Vishayamatihi Titirshuhu Dustaram Mohat. So where is that and where is this? These 2 things cannot even compare, but still I'm doing it. The next one is Slesha alankara. There are 3 types of Slesha alankara. So this is a very debated alankara. We are leading until these 25 alankaras. Everything is very clear about these alankaras, wherein it is an artha alankara. But this shabda alankara, this Slesha alankara, some people call it as a shabda alankara, some people call it as an artha alankara. Here Kuvalayananda classifies it as an artha alankara because Slesha depends on the meaning also. That is why he classifies it as an artha alankara. Some people, when they say it is a shabda alankara, it depends on the word that is being used. If you remove that particular word and substitute it with a word. So the difference usually with the shabda alankara and artha alankara is such that the basic difference that we say, it does not apply to all alankaras. In general, the first step to understanding what is the difference between a shabda alankara and artha alankara is Shabda Parivartana Sahatvam and Shabda Parivartana Asahatvam is the quality. So when you look at Shabda Alankaras, you cannot change that word which is given into another word. So Shabda Parivartana Asahatvam, it does not tolerate the change of the word. Whereas in Artha Alankara, it can tolerate the change of a word. But in Parikara Alankara, it does not fit. So that is different. In certain cases, in general, in 99% of the time, all Artha Alankaras, you can change the words that are there and it won't change the Artha Alankara there. Instead of Chandra, I can give the word Abja, I can give another word, maybe Shitamshuhu or Sudhamshuhu, any word you use. But that meaning or that comparison, and you are talking about an object, so it depends on the meaning, it does not depend on the word. But Slesha Alankara is different. It has both. Sometimes it actually cannot tolerate the change of a word. You have to use that particular word to bring about two different meanings. So that is why a lot of people classify Slesha Alankara as a Shabda Alankara and not as an Artha Alankara. The fact, why then that does Kuvalayananda treat it as an Artha Alankara? Because it is based on Artha. His definition itself is Nanartha Samshrayaha Sleshaha. Varnya, Avarnya, Ubhaya, Ashrayaha. It is based on the fact that words have different meaning. Because meaning is also a big contributor for identifying this Alankara, we can classify it as an Artha Alankara. Some actually classify this as an Ubhaya Alankara. Shabdartha Ubhaya Alankara, which is a better classification, I would say, more precise classification. This will not be useful for your Samartha exam or anything. Please, nobody is going to ask you about all these things. It's just for one knowledge and for further understanding of, Kavya Shastra. I'm saying this.
So Kavya Prakashakara sees it as Shabda, right?
Yes, he does say it. He also classifies it under Artha Alankara. He doesn't talk about it much. He says because it is Artha Samshraya, he brings it in the 10th Ullasa.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't give it in the 9th Ullasa, which deals with Shabdalankara.
So he's agreeing with Kuvalayananda.
Yes, no. Kuvalayananda agrees with Kavya Prakashakara. Kavya Prakashakara is 11th century.
So he agrees. Okay, so he's doing that camp. So who's in the other camp?
I think it is. So the older ones, like, Dandi and all have classified it as Shabdalankara. If you look at, I think, I'm not sure about Sahitya Darpanakara, but number Prataparudriyakara classifies this as something Ubhayalankara. So
I see. Okay.
So Nanartha Samshrayaha, Nana Artha Samshrayaha, Anekartha Gocharaha. Samshrayaha, it is dependent on different meanings. Anekartha Gocharaha, we are able to perceive many meanings if that sort of a Shabda Vinyasaha yadi kriyate. So Nanartha Samshrayaha is actually an adjective to Shabda Vinyasa. If the words are placed in such a manner that it can give rise to different meanings, then it is called Slesha. Iti Lakshanam. This is the Lakshana for it, and this becomes the categories. Such a Trividhaha, Varnya Ashrayaha, Avarnya Ashrayaha, Ubhaya Ashrayaha. So what is Varnya Ashrayaha? Varnyam, we have seen from Upama Alankara, Varnyam, Prakritam, Vishaya, what is the contextual, that which we want to describe. So Varnya Ashrayaha, if both meanings contribute to the Prakritam, Prakrita Anekartha Vishaya Shabda Vinyasa Rupaha Prakrita Sleshaha, then it is called Prakrita Sleshaha. So if it is based on giving the meaning for, let's say this. If the given shloka gives rise to two meanings and both meanings are used for the prakrita, are contextual, then it is called prakrita slesha. Both or 3 or 5, you can take whatever you want. How many ever, even if you look at Naishadham, there is a 13th sarga of Naishadham, which is called Panchanali Sarga. Each shloka can be interpreted in 5 different ways to show 4 devas: Indra, Vayu, Yama, Agni, Indra, Varuna, Yama, Agni, these 4 people, and Nala. So 5 different interpretations can come from one shloka. So all of those are contextual here. Then it is a Prakrita Slesha shloka. So Varnya Ashrayaha, Avarnya Ashrayaha. Now I have a Varnyam, I have my Prakritam here, but I am comparing it to 2 objects. Both are expressed by one word. Okay, abjena tulyam mukham ityasti. Abjena iti chet, what we know in general is abjam iti chet tatra padmameva suchyate. It is indicated as lotus. So tvanmukham abjena tulyam. It is similar to abjam. Tvanmukham becomes your prakritam. That is the context, which is the upameya. Abjena tulyam, abjam, lotus is your non-contextual. It is also the aprakritam, avarnyam, and it is the upamanam. Clear? But abja can have another meaning. In kosha, there is a meaning of chandra, the moon. So I can also say abjaha chandraha. So tvanmukham abjena tulyam. Your face is like the moon. Both these moon and the lotus are not prakritam. Both are non-contextual because both are upamanam, and my focus is not on these two, but my focus is in describing the face. Is that clear? So avarnya ashrayaha aprakrita anekartha vishaya shabda vinyasaha. कीदृशः शब्दविन्यासः क्रियते? तत्र शब्दानाम् उपयोगः एवं क्रियते यत् those words only indicate the upamanam, or it is the avarnyam, or it is the aprakritam, non-contextual. Whereas tvanmukham does not give me two meanings. Only the upamanam gives me two meanings. So it is a purely aprakrita slesha. Now the third category is called ubhayashrayaha, where prakrita prakrita sleshaha ityuktam. Prakrita aprakrita anekartha gocharaha shabda vinyasaha prakrita prakrita sleshaha. I have a context. I have a shloka here which describes the context beautifully, but the words which are used are used in such a manner that it gives rise to a completely different meaning, and it completely describes a different object here. But what happens there? In that case, the prakritam is the context that I need, and then there is an aprakrita meaning, non-contextual also, that arises. So the words are arranged in such a manner that I get both prakrita meaning and an aprakrita meaning. Now this is a very special case of slesha, which there is a gray area here also, where it can be called as a shabda shakti mooladhvani also. So some people accept prakrita slesha. If you accept it as slesha, then it is gone. That is, it is in the alankara realm, and you cannot consider it as an upamana, as a dhvani at all. Now what happens there is, prakritam is one, aprakritam is one. Why do I get the meaning of an aprakrita? Then you can say aupamyam. Aupamyam vyajyate. Then you can have actually an upamalankara dhvani there, aupamya dhvani, which arises out of this prakrita slesha. Why should these words give rise to another object here? I am describing, let's say I'm describing the samudram here, vahini patihi iti. That's the example he's going to give. But it also gives rise to the meaning of vahini iti sena, senapatihi, tasya. So vahini is nadi, nadinam patihi samudraha, whereas vahini patihi, senanam patihi iti, senapatihi api tatra aprakritattvena tatra vyajyate. Now these two, what I am comparing the senapati to a samudra, who is able to bring in all the armies together and rule the armies, just like how the samudram brings in all of the waters and mixes it with him as one unit. Now that aupamyam becomes more beautiful, and that is called a shabda shakti mooladhvani. Now in that case, those who accept shabda shakti mooladhvani will not accept prakrita slesha. Okay, if you accept prakrita slesha, then your shabda shakti mooladhvani will not be there.
So when you say there is dhvani, usually the dhvani will come with a reason, right? And that reason is what, in this case, it's aupamyam. Is that's
yes.
So the dhvani has a component always, which is the suggested meaning will have to have some connection, and that
with
is
the prakrita.
With the prakrita. Whereas with the if it's just an artha alankara, there is no such
You can have a dhvani which need not depend on your which need not depend on something there. Avasyamilla.
So it's unrelated. Like if on the Rama, when Rama sees that Pulinam, right, and in that shloka, that suggestion which comes to our minds, it is actually unconnected, we could say, with that.
In a way, yes.
It's unconnected.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Okay, got it.
Okay. So the first one here is Sarvado Madhavaha Payat Sayogangam Adhidarat. Inge, I don't like the way it is written here, so I just made my own. I'll share the slides because he is. You have to write it in this manner so that you can split it in such a way. If you don't write it, if you write it the way it is written, you won't get this. That's the whole point of it. He has actually split Sarvado and Madhavaha. And then he has also, he has not split here, he has split here again, Yogam, Gam, Adi, Dharat, iti. Usually when they write it in this manner so that it lends to different meanings. So Sarvado Madhavaha, Payat, Sayogangam, Adi, Dharat. Adi Dharat is in lung lakara, dharati, adharat iti. The lung lakara for it is Adi Dharat. Saha Payat, Yaha Gangam Adi Dharat. You have to split it in two different ways here to indicate both Vishnu and Shambhu. Let's say the Kavi here is writing a Mangala Shlokam and he wants to praise both Madhava, Vishnu, and Umadhava, Shambhu. Now we have to split these and do it. So Sarvado Madhavaha can be split as Sarvadaha Madhavaha Sarvam Dadati iti. This is the same in both cases. Sarvado Umadavaha. Sorry, this is Sarvada Umadavaha. Patela tapapante. Nityam ityasti. Yeah, Sarvada Umadavaha. So it becomes a Gunasandhi here. Whereas here it is Sarvado Madhavaha, two separate words. So Madhavaha, Mayaha Dhavaha, Lakshmyaha Dhavaha. Atra Umayaha Dhavaha, Parvatyaha Dhavaha, which is Patihi, Shambhuhu. So here it talks about Shiva, and in this case it talks about Vishnu. Yogangam Adi Dharat, that also you have to split it in two different ways. Yo, Agam, Gam, Adi Dharat. So here you Yaha Agam, Govardhanagirim. Agaha na gacchati iti agaha. So parvataha, one who adidharat, one who bore the weight of a mountain. You can take it in two ways. One is he took Govardhanagiri on his finger, which is Angulya grain or on the in the little finger he carried the Govardhana mountain in the Krishna Avatara. If you take the Kurma Avatara, he carried the Mandara mountain on his back. So Yaha Agam Adidharat. Yaha Gamcha Adidharat, one who bore the weight of the earth also. So Prithivim Adharat in Varaha Avatara. Or you can think of how he is Vishnu and Sthitikale tu Sahayeva etam Prithivim Palayati iti karanat. He is the Adhishtana Bhutam for all the entire world here. So Gam Prithivim Adidharat Dharayati Sma Dharati Sma. If you take it to Shiva's case, you'll have to split here and say Yo Gangam Adidharat, one who carries Ganga on his head. Seriya? If you write it this way, it is easier. Whereas anga that's how you know the splits very clearly. So Sarvam Dadati iti Sarvadaha Sakala Abhishta Pradata, one who provides everything that you wish for. Mayaha Lakshmyaha Dhavaha Patihi Vishnuhu. Yaha Agam Parvatam Govardhanam Gam Prithivim Adi Dharat Dhritavan. Saha Payat Saha Rakshet. Let him protect us. Iti Ekaha Prakritarthaha Sarvada Umayaha Dhavaha Shivaha Yaha Gangamadhidarat Adhidharat Saha Payat. Let him protect all of you. Iti Dvitiyaha api artaha Prakritaha eva iti Prakrita Sleshaha. So the Harihara Bhedam Prakatayanna Kaschana Kavihi evam vadati iti, we can say that, right? Yeah.
But so, in this particular case, the Slesha is dependent on the Sandhi.
Yes.
So it's got more of Shabda.
Exactly.
More of Shabda alankara.
Sabanga Slesha, Abanga Slesha, adala undu. So this is a Sabanga Slesha.
This is a Sabanga Slesha. Whereas the previous, did we see one without?
Illi ennu paakala. Inume dhaan paakano. This one is Abanga Slesha. This is also the first Kakodaraha is Abhanga Slesha, Putana Maranakhyataha is Sabanga Slesha.
Okay. So if there is Sabanga Slesha, there is a little bit more of wordplay in there.
Yes.
More of Shabda in there.
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
If there is no word, appuda, if it contributes to, if it is in a kind of Abhanga Slesha, where the word itself has two meanings. Say, for example, we saw in Samasokti, Anuragavati Sandhya, Divasastat Purassaraha, even Aindri Mukham Pashya, Raktaschumbati Chandramaha. There also we had Slesha. It is a Prakrita Slesha, but it contributed to Samasokti there. So the Slesha becomes an Anga for the Samasokti. And it is an Abhanga Slesha.
You're saying Aindri Mukham is a Slesha.
Yes.
In the sense that it is in the east and face of east, and also Indra's wife in that sense. I see. Okay.
Yeah. Now this is the Aparam Udaharanam here. Tratah kakodaro yena drogdhapi karunatmana putana maranakhyataha same astu sharanam prabhuhu. I like my chart, my table, so I will go with that. One is about Rama, the other is about Krishna. So kakodaraha, you split, only these two words are Slesha here, otherwise everything fits. So yena, by whom? Drogdha api yena karunatmana, one who has karunam in his heart, one who is a dayavan, one who is very compassionate. So by that compassionate one, drogdha api, even though druh iti, one who hates or one who is opposed to him. So even though he is a betrayer or even though he is opposed to him, tathapi kakodaraha trataha. Kakodara was protected. Now here this kakodara has to be split here. One is kakaha adaraha. Adaraha kakaha. Adaraha is daranama bhayam. So one who does not have any bhayam. Na dharam yasya saha. So nasti iti adaraha. One who does not have any fear. So kakaha jayantaha indraputraha jayantaha tu tatra kaka rupa dhari bhutva, without any fear he directly came and hit Sita on her breast, right? So he had no fear even though Rama was present there and he was sleeping on her lap. So without any fear he came and attacked Sita there. So adaraha kakaha, kakodaraha. If you take it as one padam, then here you take it, actually inge vandu ingiyum or madri split da aardu. You actually split it as adaraha and kakaha. It's okay, it is a little better. Kakodaraha here is a word for sarpaha. There you take it as drogdha api sarpaha trataha. Now in the case of Rama, he was very compassionate, even though Jayanta, without any fear, he attacked Sita, tathapi yena trataha. Because Jayanta came back and fell at the feet of Rama, he used the Brahmastram to remove only one eye of Jayanta and spared his life, thereby protecting him. So kakodaraha, kakaha trataha yena. So yena ramena kakaha trataha. Now take it to Krishna Pakshe. Yena karunatmana krishnena drogdha api, even though Kaliya was the sarpa, the serpent, Kaliya was acting in a manner that was completely, against the rule of nature, because Krishna was there, and he was supposed to be only in the ocean, and he had come to this place to reside in Yamuna, and he was poisoning the entire waters and destroying the lives of the people there. So Drogdha api, even though he was a Drogdha, one who was a betrayer, something, Trataha, he was protected by Krishna, in the sense he was let go, and Krishna asked him to move away from Yamuna and never come here at all, and go only to the Samudra. So he was protected in that manner, that is, his life was protected. He was not killed. So Yena Krishnena Kakodaraha Trataha. Next, Putanamarana Khyataha. Now here you take it as two separate words, Putanama and Ranakhyataha. Putanama, one whose nama is Putam, Pavitram Nama Yasya Saha. Rama's name itself evokes a sense of sanctity. So Putanama Saha. Ranakhyataha, who is also very famous in Yuddham. Full of Ramayana, you will find episodes of Rama in a battle, starting from Vishwamitra's Yagam till the end where he kills Ravana. There are battles and battles where he fights Asuras also. So Ranakhyataha, he is famous in battle. So Putanama Ranakhyataha Saha Ramaha. Atra Krishnastu Putana Marana Khyataha, one who became prasiddham by killing Putana. Until then he was not known. So as soon as Putana was killed, Kamsa stopped sending Rakshasas to other villages. He started sending them only to Gokulam. So the moment he heard that Putana was killed, he knew that Krishna was born only there. Until then, he was not famous. So he became famous immediately after killing Putana, as soon as he was born, right? So Putanayaha Maranena Khyataha Prasiddhaha Abhut Krishna Saha Prabhuhu. So Prabhu can mean Saha Rama Prabhuhu Adhava Krishna Prabhuhu. May Sharanam Astu, may he be my refuge. Clear?
I like the definition, which, I mean, Kutsitam Akrati iti Kakam. I like that. I mean, that's a lot of research. That brings it into meaning.
Yes, Kutilam Gachati.
Yes.
Udarena Kutilam Gachati. That's why Uragaha Ityadikam. No? So you have.
Whereas the word Kaka for crow is more of onomatopoeia. So
Yes.
it makes a sound, therefore it's called Kaka.
Kaka.
Whereas here it's more of a artha in the name.
Etymological.
Etymological. It's got a meaning in the name as opposed to onomatopoeic.
Yes.
That's nice. That really brings the
Kutilam Gachati, Kutilamatihi Saha iti karanat tam Drogdha api Trata.
But as they age, the snakes, the curvature of the thing becomes big and big and big. So they are not able to go make short, curvy movements.
But still, Kutilam Meva Gachanti.
Yeah. When they are young, they'll make like very sharp
turns.
They cannot do it.
அது பரவாயில்ல, போனா போறது என்ன, இப்போ நல்ல அழகா கர்வ் பண்றா, அவ்வளவுதானே. Experience gives them beauty in their walk. Anyway, so we'll stop with this. The Prakrita Slesham we'll do next class.